Coming up in this bulletin, President Akufo-Addo reiterates commitment to making Ghanaian businesses competitive in the sub-region.
Former Chief Justice Mrs. Georgina Theodora Wood appointed onto Council of State.
And on the foreign front, former FBI Chief James Comey confirms Russia interference in U.S. 2016 election.
Hello, good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. This is News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV. My name is Akpene Avo Ajaja.
And my name is Evans Echampon. President Akufo-Addo says his government is focusing on shifting Ghana's economy from taxation to production to make Ghanaian businesses competitive in West Africa and beyond.
Speaking at the 2017 European Development Days conference in Brussels, Belgium, Nana Akufo-Addo said he will build the most business and people-friendly economy in Africa to create jobs and prosperity for all Ghanaians.
The European Development Days is Europe's leading forum on international cooperation and development. The 2017 event focuses on the need to promote a new global strategy to address the most pressing current global development challenges and bring together development actors committed to tackling poverty worldwide. This is with a particular emphasis on engaging the private sector as a partner in economic development. The objectives of the private sector engagement include the promotion of inclusive growth and the creation of decent jobs, in particular for women and youth, which leads to improving living conditions. President Akufo-Addo, speaking on the theme, Making Gender and the Youth the Private Sector's Business, said empowering women and the youth is the surest way of stamping out poverty.
In Ghana, 51% of our population is female. The last census of our country has it that 73% of our population is below the age of 35. These statistics are also representative of the African condition and mean that the empowerment of our women and youth constitute fundamental challenges for our development. That is the surest way of rooting out poverty and guaranteeing the progress and prosperity of our continent and country. And my government's priority is to build the most business-friendly and people-friendly economy in Africa, which will create jobs and prosperity for Ghanaians. And this we intend to do through private sector empowerment.
President Akufo-Addo said his government will create a favorable environment to make the private sector competitive. He said the competitiveness of Ghana's private sector is key to economic growth.
It is the competitiveness of our enterprises in the agricultural and manufacturing sectors that will determine our capacity to create wealth for our youth and women and wealth in our society. The competitiveness of Ghana's private sector is key to addressing issues of inclusion, economic development, and growth of Ghana. That is the only way we can build a Ghana beyond aid. That is, freeing our people from a mindset of dependence, aid, charity, and handouts, and building a self-reliant economy which will mobilize the immense resources of Ghana.
The president earlier met with the Prime Minister of Belgium, Mr. Charles Michel, to discuss issues of mutual interest between the two countries.
The Ghana Armed Forces is to start training on the disputed land in the Alavanyo and Nkonya traditional areas. This is part of measures to ensure constant presence of the security agencies on the ground to forestall killings in the area. The Minister for Defense, Mr. Dominic Nitiwo, stated this on the floor of Parliament when he contributed to suggestions on how to bring lasting solutions to the conflict.
We wish to use this opportunity to call on the parties to this conflict to give peace a chance. Mr. Speaker, while we work together to finding a lasting peace in the area, we humbly call on all those planning retaliation in rival communities to think of the devastating effects their acts might cause the future generations and have a change of heart and choose the path of peace.
The only way that this particular conflict will end will be for the people themselves to say that enough is enough. We don't want to continue with this.
In 2005,
2015, once the people signed this peace accord, the chiefs and the people danced to a bobobo dance over there and gave each other a hug. Bobobo. So if a peace accord have been signed, previous ones have been signed, and this one, the 20th September 2015, is called the Mother of All Peace Accord, then, Mr. Speaker, we should hold the people who signed the peace accord to the accord that they have signed.
I would like to suggest that in the absence of an agreement between, if you like, the warring factions, government may step in and take over those lands and probably use those lands for some things that might be mutually beneficial to all the people who are in conflict.
Previously, we had information that the military was acquiring the place to use as a training camp. I don't know what has happened to that. I would entreat the government to go ahead with that one so that a good military camp there, similar to the one at Achiasi, will help with the military, and then will also help the people in the area.
We, on our part, like I said, the security, we'll start training in that particular area. The structures have already been put there. We'll start training in the area very soon to ensure that the security is permanently present there. Because we need land to train. So if people have land and they can give to us to train and they are disputing over it, we will go and use that place to make sure that we train so that the farmers can have enough land to farm. So that people can go and have peace of mind to go and do their farming in the various areas.
The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, is devising a major response to plant pests, particularly the invasion of armyworms on farms. Officials of ECOWAS thus met partners in Accra to develop a master plan to effectively deal with plant diseases as well as boost food production and security.
20 to 60% of crop post-harvest losses in West Africa are attributed to plant diseases. The presence of plant pathogens has significantly contributed to food insecurity, led to child malnutrition, and affected competitiveness of products from the ECOWAS region. The Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture, Mr. George Odro, said the frequent outbreaks of plant pests and diseases require the establishment of a plant diseases prevention reference that will guide the region to respond to disease epidemics in plants.
So far as the armyworm is concerned, everything is under control. No single farmer can say he's been attacked without getting the chemicals. No. Every district capital in Ghana here now has the agrochemicals ready in the various district offices. So any farmer who has been attacked will just go there and take the chemical and then go and treat the crops.
ECOWAS Commissioner for Agriculture, Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Chambaku Ayaso, said they will protect large and infected farmlands against parasites.
We are undertaking to bring the region together to think, to reflect, to exchange on the means to counter that pest which is invading the region. The main problem of that pest is that when it gets in one area, you don't harvest anything, simply because it disrupts everything.
The ECOWAS joint workshop also featured development partners and NGOs. They discussed improved seeds, fertilizers, agricultural chemicals and tractor services as necessary ingredients to improve a farmer's yield.
A modern soil upgrade and a fertilizer laboratory has been inaugurated at the Soil Research Center of the Center for Scientific and Industrial Research in Kumasi. It was sponsored by UNIDO and the Swiss government. The center will be used for testing to ensure that only the best variables are used on soils for crop farming.
The Laboratory Analytical Service Division of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Soil Research Institute, CSIR-SRI, provide laboratory analysis and diagnostic services on soil, water, and samples to generate accurate analytical data for research purposes and for clients. The lab also provides training for personnel in standard lab procedures, as well as scientific research in the area of review and update of lab analytical procedures, as well as soil test correlation and calibration studies. At the ceremony to inaugurate the ultra-modern lab, the Director General of the CSIR, Dr. Victor Ajiman, noted that CSIR must find a way to maintain the lab, which happens to be one of the well-equipped labs in Africa. He called for a paradigm shift which will see the commercialization of its services in order to generate funds. He further tasked the lab technicians to use the opportunity to come up with products they can patent or make their intellectual property as another way to keep the lab running. He expressed the hope to see an increase in SRI's publications.
You know, the time is gone when we only used to provide services. Now we have to ensure that our beneficiaries pay for the services that we actually render. That is the only way in which we will be able to maintain and manage the resources that we have.
The head of the Analytical Service Lab, Dr. Francis Matthew Tete, noted that the lab has been conducting extensive multi-nutrient analysis of soil, plant, water, fertilizer, manure, and other agricultural products since 1960, adding that the lab has served a wide spectrum of clients from agriculture to mining in checking pollution, monitoring, and training of students.
The laboratory can now provide services to mining companies for environmental monitoring, heavy metals and cyanide level assessment, agricultural food quality assessment, especially those in export sector, to ascertain the quality of your vegetables.
The representative of the Embassy of Switzerland, Daniel Lochinori, noted that Switzerland depends on Ghana for more than 50% of its cocoa to produce quality chocolate. He said since the 2000s, Ghana has played a pivotal role in the economic development of Switzerland and was hopeful the lab will be used to test cocoa to ensure they are at par with international standards. The project manager of UNIDO, Juan Pablo Sanchez Davila, noted that the project undertaken by UNIDO aims at fostering peace, partnership,
West region now, and the head of local government service, Dr. Nanatua Arthur, has cautioned local assemblies not to award contracts if they have no established source of funding. He said assemblies which go on that tangent would be sanctioned. This was part of discussions at an assembly's Deba at Wa in the Upper West region.
The objective of the local government service is to ensure the effective administration and management of local governments in the country. This is done through regional coordinating councils, metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies. Upon his assumption of office as head of local government service in March this year, Dr. Arthur began a series of engagement with staff within the service. He said his administration will focus on capacity building of the staff, promote the use of ICT and encourage sharing of best practices among others. The head of the local government service, however, expressed worry over a practice where some assemblies award contracts without funds. He cautioned that any assembly that does so will be sanctioned.
You have a common fund allocation of 5 million Ghana cedis. 2 releases have already come, leaving 2 releases. In August, September 2016, going for election, you award contract to the tune of 5 million Ghana cedis. Already your 5 million Ghana cedis, you received 2 releases, so about 2.5 had already come. Remaining 2.5. And according to that, engineers and DCs are coming together, awarding another 5 million Ghana cedis contract. When this continues, please, we shall sanction all of you.
Upper West Regional Minister Mr. Suleiman Al-Hassan said some of the districts lack key staff which make their work difficult. He appealed to the local government service to speed up postings of such staff to the district to address the problem.
Both official and residential accommodation has been a huge challenge in the RCC. And some of the districts, such as Nandom, Dafiema Isabuse, Lambuse, and Wa East also suffer the same fate. We therefore wish to appeal for more resource allocations in this region.
The head of human resource at the service, Mr. Paul Mensah, made a presentation on postings, training, promotion, transfer, and disciplinary measures. He cautioned the staff to use laid-down procedures anytime they are applying for study leave.
Reports say only 34.5% of candidates in the Upper Manya Krobo district of the Eastern region passed the 2016 BECE. The inability of the pupils to read was a major contributing factor to the abysmal performance. This was revealed at the launch of the District Reading Festival at Asesewa in the Eastern region.
The Reading Festival was a collaboration between the Upper Manya Krobo District Directorate of Education and the United Nations International Children's Fund, UNICEF. It was organized for pupils in the kindergarten and basic 3 from 10 selected primary schools in the Manya Krobo district. The pupils participated in disciplines such as mother and child games, spelling bee, picture reading, and alphabet sorting, among others. These were to inculcate in them the habit of reading. The Reading Festival was also used to unearth and nurture those with special interest and talents to become more useful. The District Director of Education, Madame Deborah Afi Babatunde, was concerned that only 2% of Ghanaian pupils can comprehend what they read.
One's ability to read does not only open his mind, but as Plato wrote in his book, that's the Republic, that the one with knowledge is the one that has seen the light and can differentiate between shadow and reality. What he simply wants to say is that knowledge is hidden in books, and one can only access that knowledge if the person has the ability to read and understand what is written.
Some of the pupils from the Bishop Ando RC Primary, Bensandawa Presby Primary, and Siontriso Methodist, among others, read aloud to the audience.
I have a bag. I am putting my bag under my table. This is once upon a time. A very wise duck lived in a stream beside the forest.
The UNICEF Activity Coordinator, who is also the District Training Officer, Michael Gagnon, spoke to GBC24 about the essence of the Reading Festival.
It is an effort to augment the teaching teachers do in the classroom.
The Reading Festival was on the theme, "Let us help children to read."
To one of our top stories this hour, the President Nana Akufo-Addo has appointed the former Chief Justice, Mrs. Georgina Theodora Wood, onto the Council of State. She occupies the last seat, which per the Constitution is supposed to be occupied by a person who has previously held the office of Chief Justice. The Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, announced her appointment in Parliament.
Article 29 of the 1992 Constitution requires a former Chief Justice to be made a member of the Council of State. At the time the President swore in the 24-member Council of State, the country had no living former Chief Justice. Mrs. Georgina Theodora Wood, who retires by close of Thursday, June 8th, occupies the last seat that is supposed to be occupied by a former Chief Justice. As Ghana's first woman Chief Justice, Mrs. Theodora Wood joins the judiciary in the 1973 as a magistrate. She gradually rose through the court ranks to become the 24th Chief Justice and the first to head the judiciary in Ghana's history. She chalked up successes in her 10-year tenure. She swore in 3 different presidents: the late President John Evans Atta Mills in 2009, Mr. John Mahama in 2012 and 2013, and President Akufo-Addo. Members of Parliament commended the former Chief Justice for her contributions to Ghana's judicial system.
In a bid to decongest the courts, and to encourage settlement of cases out of court, she vigorously championed and promoted alternative dispute resolution, ADR. This has improved access to justice and made alternative dispute resolution one of the pillars of qualitative justice in the country. As a human rights champion, she played a key role in the Justice for All program, which brought about a situation where individuals on remand whose cases have not been heard for donkey years are investigated and appropriate remedies applied.
As a country celebrates her exits and immeasurable contribution to the development of the law in our country, it's also important that we recognize what she has done for extending the right to vote to prisoners. Hitherto, prisoners have no right to vote until a matter was brought before her that the Supreme Court ruled that it was important that that right was extended to them.
Now you cannot choose which court you want to have your case because you have any dealings with the judge. Everything is done on the computer. It is computerized, and that is the efficiency and transparency that we need in our judicial system.
If we're enjoying our democracy and we're the pride of Africa and the envy of many, it is also partly due to her exceptional leadership as a Chief Justice.
Parliament is expected to proceed with processes required for the approval of her nomination.
Preparations are ongoing towards the state burial of the late Major Maxwell Adam Mahama tomorrow. A vigil is underway in honor of the fallen soldier at the Arakan Officers' Mess at Bema Camp. Meanwhile, 500 boxes of bottled water have been donated towards the funeral.
Major Mahama's life came to a tragic end when he was stoned and charred to death by a section of irate youth from Dincho Boase, where he was on special duties. As part of preparations towards the funeral, Sule Investment Limited, producers of narrow mineral water through the Ministry of Defense, has contributed a number of sachet and bottled water for the event. The burial service will start with a filing past at 6 a.m., after which the body of the late Major Mahama will be interred at the military cemetery at Osu with full military honors. Final funeral rites will be at the forecourt of the State House, and later on Sunday, a memorial service will be held at the Lighthouse Chapel, Kodesh. The inhumane manner in which Major Mahama was killed has caused a major outrage among Ghanaians, who have called for the culprits to be brought to book. Meanwhile, 42 persons have been arrested in connection with the crime.
We pause for a breather at this juncture. We are back shortly with business news.
Hello, good evening, and good to have you join us for the business segment of the news, brought to you by NIB and Ernest Chemist. I'm Dorothy Ajimine. A $50 million endowment fund has been established for the completion of a building for the West Africa Center for Crop Improvement. The multi-purpose building is to enhance agriculture in West Africa by training students with knowledge and skills in modern plant breeding.
Established in 2007, the West Africa Center for Crop Improvement, WACI, has partnered the University of Ghana and Cornell University in the United States to train plant breeders to improve indigenous crops. Students are giving diverse human resource training through exchange of ideas, debates, and critique of research. As part of WACI's 10th anniversary, the Minister for Finance, Mr. Ken Oforiatta, announced a $50 million endowment fund for the establishment of a research center to enhance education in agriculture. He said Africa spends about $35 billion importing food, while Ghana spends about $1.2 billion.
That food security is essential to national security, economic opportunity, and agricultural development impacts improvements in health and well-being. The call to end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture by 2030 is a grand challenge, and I'm optimistic, but very cautiously, because the past has hamstrung us by the business as usual approach. But then, this is a new era. A new era is indeed dawning. There is great optimism, and there is hope, and what WACI is doing is indicative of that.
The Minister for Education, Mr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, assured management of the Center of Government's readiness to support research activities at the center. The Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu-Efriye Akoto, said Ghana needs quality human resource from West Africa Center for Crop Improvement to support seed companies and enterprises to produce quality seeds for subsequent use by farmers.
A capacity that is building for researchers to go out there to improve varieties and so on. Therein lies agricultural future of Africa and nothing else. It's just the small seed would improve, which has got that potential to increase yield.
The president of the Alliance for a Green Revolution Center in Africa, AGRA, Dr. Agnes Kalibata, said the endowment fund will help the center to develop a strategic sustainability plan that would be implemented between 2018 and 2028. The director of WACI, Professor Eric Dankwa, said storage facilities for traditional seeds is a major problem for most farmers, hence the use of hybrid seeds from WACI.
We have launched a new tomato project which we believe will lead to the identification of tomato varieties which will get to the markets. For example, you take tomato, we import over $100 million of tomato paste from China and elsewhere. We can cut all that off by developing new crops.
The West Africa Center for Crop Improvement will soon release 3 maize hybrid seeds onto the market.
A verification exercise conducted by the Youth Employment Agency, YEA, in February this year shows that 2,716 beneficiaries of the YEA were paid monthly salaries without appointment letters to the tune of 814,800 Ghana cedis. The acting chief executive of YEA, Mr. Justin Frimpong, said the halt in salary payment has saved the country 3,259,200 Ghana cedis. He made this known at the media press series in Accra.
The Youth Employment Agency was established to primarily coordinate and supervise the employment of the youth in the country. Established in 2006 as a National Youth Employment Program, the agency currently has 63,000 beneficiaries across the country. However, according to the current management of the agency, there has been a number of discrepancies in the operations of YEA. The acting chief executive of YEA, Mr. Justin Frimpong, said the agency suspended the payment of beneficiary allowances from February to May this year to conduct a comprehensive audit of the agency.
Payments of unearned allowances to beneficiaries not at post, meaning those who have vacated their posts, amounted to 1,247,300 Ghana cedis. B. Funds meant for official use paid into personal accounts or disbursed in cash amounted to 5,433,261. C. Supporting documents for payments not cited amounted to 1,789,191.
He added that from the findings of the audit, YEA has mapped out a way forward.
As a way of dealing with the challenges that have plagued the agency over the period, management, in consultation with the sector ministry, have resolved to strengthen the internal control mechanism, including introduction of a pre-monthly validation policy before payments. We have also engaged more monetary assistance for this purpose. Management has further decided that all payments must pass through the internal audit unit for pre-auditing before same is effected.
Mr. Frimpong said all those who have their names deleted from the payroll have a month's notice to make their valid documents available to the agency for approval.
You're watching the business segment of News Hour. Moving on the interbank market, the pound is selling at 5 cedis 58 pesos, the US dollar at 4 cedis 30 pesos, and the euro is also trading at 4 cedis 84 pesos. On the commodities market, light crude is trading at $46.04 per barrel and cocoa at $1,977 per ton. Gold is going for $1,285.20 an ounce. And that's it for business, brought to you by Ernest Chemist and NIB. We have more news coming up. Please do stay.
You're welcome back. It's time for some health news brought to you by Yamvita and FPAC. The First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, has received a check for 130,000 Ghana cedis for completion of the maternity block of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. The First Lady launched the Save a Child, Save a Mother Fund to support the project, which was stalled for more than 3 decades due to lack of funds.
Construction of the maternity block of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital started more than 3 decades ago, but work stalled due to lack of funds. Pregnant women who visited the maternity unit of the hospital go through challenges due to lack of beds and other facilities. The First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, who visited the facility, decided to raise funds for the completion of the block.
I went to Komfo-Anokye about 2 years ago, and I saw women having baby on the floor. As soon as I saw this in Kumasi, I couldn't help but to go to Kushia and pick the tent and took it to Kumasi. They are there today and they are being used. So it is something that is very close to my heart, and I'm not surprised that you were so touched that you decided to do this. I mean, Ghana thanks you for it.
The First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, thanked the company for the support.
Government cannot do it all, and so I am really very grateful to you for this wonderful check, which is going to go towards the Komfo-Anokye Hospital building. And I hope I can count on you in the future, because it's ongoing and there are other projects that will follow this. And so I'll be calling on you again.
She urged others to emulate the gesture and contribute to the fund to support other projects.
Sexually active women, especially those above 20 years, are being advised to screen for cervical cancer, since early diagnosis is key to treatment. The notice was served at a seminar to sensitize women on the need for periodic screening on the disease.
Cervical cancer is caused by the human papilloma virus. It occurs when abnormal cells grow in the cervix, that is, the lower part of the uterus that opens into the vagina. The WHO posits that cervical cancer is the leading cause of death in Africa, and over 68,000 cases are recorded annually. Engaging in sexual activities with multiple partners, frequent consumption of alcohol and smoking are some risk factors. Persons suffering from cervical cancer may experience abnormal bleeding between menstrual periods, after sex, and pain in the lower belly or pelvis, among others. Persons who experience such symptoms must immediately seek treatment. Surgery, radiotherapy, and chemotherapy are some treatments for the disease. Cervical cancer is largely preventable. However, in many parts of Africa, including Ghana, the ailment is still not identified or treated until advanced stages due to insufficient reproductive health care centers, effective screening, and early treatment. To create awareness of the disease, the Ghana International Women's Club sensitized the public on cervical cancers and to solicit for funds to purchase an equipment known as C-arm for the radiotherapy department of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The president of the club, Madame Jackie Ahumkalinse, said the C-arm will facilitate the diagnosis and treatment of the disease.
The machine is critical in the fight against cervical cancer and will be used in 3 different procedures. Firstly, in diagnostics, the C-arm is used to detect the presence of cervical cancer, and which will ensure early detection, which also ensure that 80% success rate in curing the disease.
The hospital is set to treat about 300 cases of cervical cancers.
Through your organization, you are going to assist us in the tumor localization by getting us a C-arm so that it will improve the accuracy of our delivery.
Dr. Timitayo Oluwo, everyone vulnerable to the disease, and since Ghana has a leading number of people living with the disease, government must make treatment and screening accessible to all women at an affordable cost. He said research conducted by the WHO indicates that Ghana needs about 24 radiotherapy machines to treat the disease. However, the country can only boast of 3. 2 women who had successfully undergone cancer experiences. The Ghana International Women's Club has appealed to stakeholders and corporate organizations to help raise funds to purchase the equipment. So far, the club has raised 45,000 euros out of the 150,000 euros required for the C-arm equipment.
Hello, good evening. Let's talk sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. We'll go straight to the Kumasi Barbara Sports Stadium for an update on preparations of the Black Stars, where they yesterday beat a Division 1 side, Asokwati Deportivo, by 6-1. And it was to test their battle readiness ahead of Sunday's clash with Ethiopia.
The encounter between the Black Stars and the Division 1 side, Deportivo, was a test match for the Stars. Coach Kwesi Appiah's side will kick off their AFCON 2019 qualifiers on Sunday against Ethiopia. The technical handlers fielded 2 different sides in each half. The central defense pair of Rashid Smaila and Jerry Akamenko, with Efriye Akwa in the midfield, while Jordan Ayew partnered Winful Kobna in attack. The Stars scored 2 goals to end the first half. Back from the first half, John Boy and Amate joined in the central defensive positions. Midfielders were Thomas Partey and Andre Ayew, while Majid Waris paired Rafael Dramina in the attack. At the end, the Stars won by 6-1. Here are some reactions from officials and players.
You can see that we play very good football, combination football, and then we score as well. So we will continue that in training so that on Sunday we will have a very good game.
Our great performance was very, very good. And then this is our training-friendly match, and our determination to win this game on Sunday.
Here in Accra, the Minister for Youth and Sports on Thursday inspected facilities at the University of Ghana Stadium, Legon. The 30,000 capacity facilities is yet to be completed as work started in 2008. This is the state of the mini Olympic sports facility at the University of Ghana, Legon. 30,000 capacity stadium is aimed at boosting the country's ability to host international sporting events. Since work stalled midway in 2008, this is the remnant of the edifice. The tour afforded the Youth and Sports Minister, Mr. Isaac Isiama, and his team, and officials from the University of Ghana, led by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Ebenezer Odruusu, a first-hand information on the extent of work needed to complete the project. Representatives from the construction firm, Consal Limited, were present and took the team round the facility. According to officials, the block work is 90% done and the overall project is halfway through. The athletics track is the only completed part of the structure ready for use. The minister and his team and officials from the university were shocked when a storehouse locked for the past 9 years was opened for the first time. It contained unused gadgets and equipment worth more than $3 million meant for the completion of the stadium project. These 3 containers under lock was also opened. It took a considerable amount of energy and time to get them opened. That also contained equipment meant to furnish the facility. The Minister for Youth and Sports, Mr. Isaac Isiama, described the situation as unfortunate.
9 years I've seen this facility rotten, this facility neglected. For all these years, nothing has happened to it. So, yes, as government, we have come. This project, we initiated it in the year 2004. So we are back. And I want to assure the university community that the president himself is directly interested in ensuring that this project see the light of day.
Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Legon, Professor Ebenezer Odruusu, called for a change in attitude.
Once there's a will, there's a way. Yes, it's better late than never. And I have not lost hope in getting this on track to serve the purpose to which it's meant to serve. But it draws very great lessons to us as a nation that we need to ensure continuity. Indeed, in my first address to convocation as Vice-Chancellor, I indicated that we as a nation should try as much as possible to give glory to those who complete projects, just as those who initiate.
The quantity surveyor of Consal Limited, Oponyako, said if funds were released, they can complete the project. When complete, this Olympic Stadium will bring relief to many, including athletes at the university, as it has offices, shops, hotels, conference rooms, VIP stand, police control area, floodlight, and scoreboard, among others. Let's go to USA now, where the Golden State Warriors defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers by 118 points to 113 on Wednesday night. The result means Golden State are leading 3-0 in the NBA Finals.
The Golden State Warriors are one win away from avenging last year's NBA Finals collapse. Last night in Game 3, the Warriors emerged with a thrilling 118-113 victory over the Cavs to seize a commanding 3-0 lead in the series. Kevin Durant led the way for the Dubs with 31 points and 8 rebounds, including a monumental go-ahead 3 to seal the game in the final minutes. James and Curry combined for 77 points for the Cavs, but it was not enough to keep up with a blistering Golden State offense. The Warriors as a whole connected on 9 triples in the opening 12 minutes, which sets the tone for the win. Steve Kerr's men are just a game away from closing out the series and are a perfect 15-0 in the postseason. The Cavaliers, meanwhile, will have to win a crucial Game 5 on Friday if they have any chance of keeping the series alive.
That's all for sports.
And this is the art side of the news, brought to you by kindness of Cowbell. The president of the Musicians Union of Ghana, Musiga, Bais Osei Kufo, has disclosed to the Arts and Entertainment Desk of GBC24 that the problems the union is facing now is as a result of lack of communication among members of the Musiga board.
The president of the Musicians Union of Ghana, Bais Osei Kufo, also known as Obuo, is unhappy about the financial difficulty currently facing the union.
We do have a lot of challenges, difficulty in communicating to our members. Not all our members are social media savvy, not all of them are email savvy, and so there's that challenge block of membership. There's also the financial challenges where members are not paying their dues. Also, there's lack of sponsorship for some of our projects.
He therefore urged DJs and presenters to play more of Ghanaian music.
One of the key projects we are embarking on currently is Play More GH, which is encouraging all media networks to play more Ghanaian content, more local content than foreign content, because we face competition from musicians from other countries, of course, which is unfair. We are not saying they shouldn't play any other song apart from Ghanaian songs, but we must know that we are Ghanaians and we must play more Ghanaian.
President Obuo took us through some projects Musiga will be undertaking.
One of our key projects that we're working on is the Musiga Academy, which is our collaboration with NAFTI. We started it as a short course, now it has graduated into a certificate program. The vision is to get it into a degree program that people who want to pursue a career in music, either sound engineering, either music production, either music business, artist management, you can actually have a degree program that you can take at NAFTI as a course.
We now go for some tidbits from the world of entertainment. And that was entertainment brought to you by kindness of Cowbell. We'll be back shortly.
Thanks for watching the weather update.
And that's it for the news. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back at 10 with a later edition.
Good evening.